Evening, everyone. Uh, Respected guests for the day and the judges, Professor Dr. Vilasini Patkar, madam, a very our own faculty. Welcome, madam. And I also welcome Dr. Alok Dhabade, sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Statistics and PhD Guide from the University of Mumbai. On behalf of the Hindi Vidya Prachar Samiti, Director Madam Dr. Usha Mukundan Madam and our Principal Dr. Himanshu Davda. I welcome you all. Dear students, dear student participants, this particular event is in the 4th year and the Department of Statistics has been doing a wonderful job. It's a unique way wherein having a presentation on we can say work done in statistics is something unique, and Department of Statistics has been doing it consistently, and it is in the 4th year. So I congratulate Chaya Pinge madam for containing this particular tradition. And even though we are into the offline mode, conditions doesn't allow us to meet within the college offline, but maybe next year we will have this in a full-fledged offline mode. So without wasting much time, I extend my warm welcome to the judges, Professor Dr. Vilasini Patkar madam and Dr. Alok Dabade. And also I give my best wishes to the student participants, and I hope they will enjoy this particular event. And finally, before concluding, I would say that remember, you all are winners. So I will congratulate all the participants. It's just a matter of how you present and how the judges judge. But nevertheless, I wish you all the best, all the participants. Hope you do well and enjoy this event. So with these words, I hand over to Rahul Tiwari, sir, to continue with the proceedings. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for your kind words and supports. Now I would like to request Head Department of Statistics, Ms. Chaya Pinge, say a few words. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, Rahul. Good afternoon to all. I'm very happy to see you all over here for today's Intercollegiate PPT competition organized by Hindi Vidya Prachar Samiti's RJ College, Autonomous Department of Statistics. We, the Department of Statistics, organizes various co-curricular programs throughout the year. Every year, our event, Exploratory Territory, celebrates National Statistics Day, of course, on 29th of June, whereas a seminar known as Something Extra gives the opportunity to students to take a look at various statistics topics which are not from the syllabus and present it in their own way. Then under DBT Star College activities, innovative practicals are conducted, number of interdisciplinary projects are done, guest lectures are conducted. But we, students as well as teachers from various colleges, wait for this intercollegiate PPT competition, well known as visual storytelling. Many a times, it is presumed as just a normal storytelling, but it is not that story as we think, but it is a story of data collection and its analysis. Testing of various hypotheses will be the theme of storyline, and variables, parameters, all these are main characters of this story. Critical values and decision criteria will be the judges, and finally, participants will be the writer and gives us the moral of the story in the form of conclusion. I think this gives a perfect picture of visual storytelling and intercollegiate PPT competition. Theoretical learning gives us a core knowledge of any subject, but practical application gives us a more deep understanding of that subject, since we actually apply our theoretical knowledge to a real situation data. Actually, 4 years back, this thought developed the idea of visual storytelling. Every year, we keep one baseline as either some condition or give a topic. Earlier, we had given a topic like food, or it was last year COVID effects, once we had restricted population and the sample size and so on. But then students from various colleges had came up with various different ideas and fantastic presentations. Every idea, every presentation gave us a different perspective, different thought, and a new angle to look at the real life data. I'm sure all participants must have worked very hard this year also. A stage must have occurred where you must have regretted for participating in this, I'm sure. And finally, you must have said, hush, it's done. In this whole process, you have, and still you will learn a lot. On behalf of RZ College, Department of Statistics, I wish you a very good luck for this competition. Thank you so much. Over to Rahul, sir.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am, for your kind informations and inspiring the students in maybe in initial stages. So now I request you all to put your camera on for a group photo, and then we shall begin our competition. So I request you all, you can put your camera on. All participants, all teachers. Group 3, Ritesh, Shiva Mishra, just a second, one more. Yeah, thank you. So now we shall begin our competition. Before that, I would like to mention in brief the rules of today's competition. So just listen this all rules. It is already put up on your notice. So you have already gone through, but make sure that you can while presenting you should sure about this all rules. Do not disclose your identity either in PPT or during the presentation in any form like your name, college name, etc. In such a case, the team will be disqualified. Okay, each team will be given the maximum 10 minutes for presentation, including the 2 minutes for the interaction. That means they have given only the 8 minutes. So try to finish your presentation within 8 minutes so that the judges will have the time for interaction if they have any query. Winning teams will be awarded prizes and e-certificates. If 2 or more teams are tied at the same position, then prize money will be shared by those teams. And the last, judges' decision will be the final decision. Okay. So with the permission from the judges, shall we start the competition, sir and ma'am?
Yes, yes.
Yes, you can
All
start.
the best
Yeah,
to
yeah,
all the
yeah.
participants.
Yeah, thank you, sir and ma'am. And I think best wishes to all participants, and the group number 6 will present first. There's a small change in the in our schedule. So group number 6 will present first here, and then will group number 1, 2, 3, and so on. So group number 1 is ready. The group number 6 is ready.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can put on your camera and you can start presenting. We will noting the time. Okay. So as we say, you can go ahead. Once we put the timer, you can start. Okay. So you all ready? Just put the thumb or raise your hand so that you'll be at the top.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Just a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shall we begin now? Yeah. Room number
Yes.
6, ready? Okay. The time starts now.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Our topic for the presentation today is tripping, arrivals and departure patterns in India. So I will ask my friends, what are your plans for summer vacation this year?
I'm planning to go to Goa this year.
Oh, yeah? I will also be traveling to Maldives this year.
Well, that's great.
You're on mute.
Okay, so as we can see, almost everybody chooses to travel in the leisure time in today's world. So tourism is one of the world's fastest growing sector. It creates a huge impact on every country's economy. Also, traveling is a very good way to learn new things about the world. It teaches us many interesting things about the cultures of different nationalities. Many foreign tourists chooses to travel a lot domestically as well as internationally. So the objectives of our presentation today is to study the growth of foreign tourists in India from 2001 to 2018, to study the nationalities of the foreign tourists arriving in India, to study the purpose of visit of foreign tourists, to study the ranking of the Indian states, uh, sorry, wait, to study the month-wise foreign exchange earnings in 2018, and to study the quarter-wise departures of Indian tourists. Okay, so we have collated a secondary data obtained from the official website of the Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, and we have visualized that data using Microsoft Excel. So since time immemorial, there's been a lot of interest in exploring India. Thanks to Vasco da Gama, people found a way to come to India, and from then on, they started traveling to India for various purposes. Cut to 2019, India now is a popular destination among foreigners and features among the top 50 countries in the terms of tourism in the world. Foreign tourist arrivals have increased tremendously from almost 2 million in 2001 to well more than 10 million in 2019. And this trajectory would have surely carried on. But it is predicted to have a decrease in the last 2 years because of the pandemic. But it will bounce back very soon. So, of all the foreign tourist arrivals in India in the last 4 years, there's been an increase in the visitors from the North American, Western Europe, and South Asian regions, while the visitors from all other regions has only slightly increased.
This shows us that India welcomes a lot of people from Bangladesh, USA, and UK. There are many reasons why people choose to travel to India, which includes business, leisure, medical reasons, and so on. The hill stations, beaches, architecture, temples, and many, many more awe-inspiring attractions never fail to amaze the people, which is why the main reason for people traveling to India is leisure. The many opportunities for trade and business in India attracts many people for business reasons to our country. If we categorize all the countries in terms of their gross national income, that is GNI per capita, into low income, lower middle income, upper middle income, and high income countries, we can see that a higher percentage of people from high income countries come to India for business purposes. Importance of land trade routes in terms of cost of transport. As we know that India is very popular for leisure, hence there is a lot of visitors from all over the world who come to India. However, this number is significant. Low income and middle income countries, which are geographically close to India, prefer to come here for medical reasons, while a lot of expats settled in high income developed nations like US, UK, Australia come to India to meet their relatives. Among the states in India, Tamil Nadu ranks first in terms of foreign as well as domestic tourists. The scenic beauty and the serene atmosphere is surely a big attraction to people. Mumbai and Pune city are very famous for among foreigners, which shows why Maharashtra stands second in terms of foreign tourists. The architectural grandeur and ornate temples in Uttar Pradesh, which houses the Taj Mahal, is also a major attraction for tourists domestically as well as internationally. Looking at the revenue generated from foreign exchange from 2016 to 2019, it is no wonder our earnings has increased over the years. The months of January, July, November, and December generates the highest earnings as those months are associated with good climatic conditions, while the month of May has the lowest earnings because of extreme summer.
While we have learned about tourism in India, wouldn't it be amazing to understand where Indians travel to for different purposes? West Asian countries seem to be very popular among Indian people, while Central and South Asian countries seem to be less favored. To study the various destinations popular among Indians, we've categorized them into some of the features for which they are famous and which months Indians visit them. In countries which are famous for snow, we can see that Indians mostly travel to them in the second quarter, that is from April to June, as those are months with extreme heat in India and also the months where children usually get their summer vacations. Countries which are famous for their serene beaches are visited by Indians in the second quarter, that is from April to June, and fourth quarter, that is from October to December, mostly to escape extreme summer and winter seasons. However, countries like Australia and New Zealand are usually frequented in the first and fourth quarter, that is from months of October to March, which is the best time to go to these countries because of their climate. Countries which are famous for their sporting events are also very famous among Indian tourists. Russia, which hosted the Champions League finals and Football World Cup that year, was highly visited in the months of June and July when the competitions were going on. New Zealand was also very frequented in the months of January to March when they hosted the Under-19 World Cup for cricket, which India won. Australia, France, UK, and US host major tennis slam events, while Brazil, Argentina, and many European giants of football like Spain, Italy, and France are famous among Indian football fans. Therefore, in conclusion, we can say that foreign tourist arrivals have increased tremendously over time and will surely increase as the pandemic begins to fade away. People mostly travel for leisure, although there are various reasons why people choose to travel to different countries. With increase in globalization, the world has become a small global village with easy and affordable means of travel. This empowers people from all walks of life to explore different worlds. Thank you.
Did you have a hypothesis for your study?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And no primary data also.
No,
The
ma'am.
whole. Yeah. Okay.
The whole
based
data
on
was
secondary data.
yes, ma'am.
Secondary Ministry of Tourism.
Yeah.
Okay. You have considered the secondary data and some graphs you have shown. I think only one bar diagram you have used. All the graphs, whatever you have shown. Almost, I think one pie diagram, but almost everyone is bar diagram.
No, sir. We have used gradient maps as well.
That's a map. That's different. But
Okay.
to represent the data,
Yeah.
almost everywhere you used a bar diagram. I think you have so you can use some different diagrams also. That will be suitable things. And I think you should use some test procedures like t-test or something. Just showing graphically is just what you have data. So
Okay,
you can
sir.
use some statistical procedures.
Okay.
Maybe some test, t-test or some last sample test, because you have collected the 2001 to 2019. It's a quite huge period. So I think you might have the quite a large data set. So you can just represent that how the change is or something, but it's okay.
Okay.
In future, you can think of that one.
Yeah, we thought that like we can only show the visual things. Yeah.
Ah.
So we focused on charts.
But the charts just shows the data, not the conclusion. No?
Okay.
Okay, good.
Thank you, sir.
And some personal observations, like after doing such a study, what have you observed and what are your recommendations? Because any analysis or research should come with your recommendations, your suggestions. Okay. So next time you can think about it, like some observations you make, and then you give some suggestions for the improvement of travel to and fro, as you said. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Sure, we'll keep this in mind next time.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, group number 6, you can stop sharing. Group number 1 now ready?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You can start sharing the screen. Start your camera.
Shall I start?
Yes, you can start.
Good afternoon, everyone. We are Team 1 and we will be presenting our analysis on tourism of Jammu and Kashmir, Paradise on Earth. The objectives of our analysis were to study the tourist inflow in Jammu and Kashmir, impact of COVID-19 pandemic on tourism, revenue generated comparison through tourism for the year 2019 vis-a-vis 2020, and study the monthly data of the year May 2014 to April 2015. Jammu and Kashmir is a newly created union territory in India and has two divisions, Jammu Division and Kashmir Division. The Jammu Division has historical and religious importance. The main tourist attractions in Jammu are Bahu Fort, the oldest fort in Jammu, Baghe Bahu, Mansar Lake, and Mata Vaishno Devi Shrine, which holds a lot of religious importance. Coming to the Kashmir division, Kashmir is famous for its meadows, lakes, high altitude passes, and hill stations. Visiting the Dal Lake and experiencing a shikara ride or staying in a houseboat is a must. Another tourist attraction and a major source of livelihood here is the local handicrafts like carpets, walnut wood carvings, and pashmina shawls. Tourists mostly visit Gulmarg in Kashmir to experience the snowfall. During pandemic, in order to promote the various tourism potentials of Jammu and Kashmir, a unique networking platform tapping the tourism potential of Kashmir, Another Day in Paradise, was organized in 2021 at Srinagar and subsequently Indira Gandhi Memorial Tulip Garden, which is Asia's largest tulip garden, and Igloo Cafe in Gulmarg, which is India's first and Asia's biggest igloo cafe, were developed.
Recently in Jan 2022, a family came to visit Jammu and Kashmir and they have appointed a tourist guide named Kashmiri Dada. Now presently, they are at Gulmarg Hill Station. Kashmiri Dada says that the tourist inflow is increasing every year and in 2019 it was maximum due to abrogation of Article 370 which revoked the temporary status of Jammu and Kashmir and attracted tourists as shown in the graph. But in start of 2020, the COVID pandemic spreaded and tourist inflow became little less. Although there was a perception of decline in tourist inflow in 2020, but it was not the reality. But a slight decrement was there as shown in the graph. Now the family asks, how about the tourist inflow during the lockdown? Kashmiri Dada replies that, oh, a great question, beta. So in August 2019, the abrogation of Article 370 took place and its effect was seen in October. In October 2019, experienced maximum tourist inflow as shown in our graph. But in later months, there was spread of news of pandemic and then in November and December 2019, the tourist inflow started decreasing as shown in the graph. Then the pandemic resulted in first lockdown and after the lockdown ended, tourists started visiting again and in later months of 2020, the fear got reduced and December 2020 experienced the maximum inflow of tourists as shown in the graph.
Now the Kashmiri Dada wants to take the family to Tulip Garden in Srinagar.
This is the analysis made with the help of monthly data of 2014 to 15. This is the data dashboard made with the help of pivot tables interlinked together with the help of slicers. The better interaction, we would like to move to Excel. Here the story continues. Dada is very excited to take the tourists to Srinagar. On his way, he speaks about the places Udhampur, Srinagar, Baramulla, which are the top 3 most visited places in Jammu and Kashmir, and which are most likely to catch the attention of people. As you can see from the graph, Udhampur is a famous place among the locals. Hence, the domestic tourists visiting here is high. But in case of foreign tourists, they are most attracted to Srinagar, which embraces the beauty of the attraction of top Jammu and Kashmir. Dada further tells them that they are lucky to visit in the month of November because these places are usually crowded in the months of May, June, July, August. From the graph, we can see the domestic tourists mainly visited in the months of June, July, and August, whereas foreign tourists visited in the month of May and June. Dada also tells them the number of tourists is high in summer season, as it's the best time for people to escape the hot climate and to move to a chilly place like Kashmir. Let's move back to the PPT.
Now the family has reached the Tulip Garden.
Now the family asks Kashmiri Dada that Tulip Garden is so clean. So how does the government get the funds to maintain cleanliness? Kashmiri Dada replies that maximum revenue generated comes from tourism sector. So by our research, the data we have collected is on revenue generated by tourism for the year 2019 to 2020. We have found out that revenue generated by room rent in 2020 was high as compared to 2019 because in later months of 2019, there was a fear of coronavirus amongst the people and also there were strict protocols. After the first lockdown of 2020, as the people were bored, they started planning their trips in Jammu and Kashmir, being a prime tourist spot, experienced a surge in tourism. The same reason is applicable to catering and restaurant income. Other sales were high in 2019 and bar sales were high in 2020.
Thus, we conclude that tourism contributes a large part to the economy of Jammu and Kashmir and attracts tourists both from India and around the world, not just for its spectacular landscape, but its rich culture and heritage too. But due to the current pandemic, there was a sharp decline in the tourist inflow during the financial year 2020 to 21, and the overall revenue of the Union Territory decreased. Now the family says, "Thank you, Dada."
फिर मिलते हैं इन महीदर जगहों पर.
Thank you, everyone. We would like to answer questions of any.
Your slides were very creative and quite interesting. But again, as the previous presentation, no primary data, right?
Yes,
and no observations, recommendations. These are the basic things like when you do research. Okay, so bear it in mind. All those parameters have to be followed, like hypothesis, because that's the main thing, as students of statistics, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Better like next time. Do it next time. Okay?
Also, one more thing, I think you haven't mentioned from where you got the data. Because in previous one, they have mentioned the data site. At least you should mention from where you got the data.
So we have mentioned the sources.
So the sources are mentioned over here.
Okay. So you have the different data sets. I mean, different sites from where you got the data.
Yes.
And I think if you have the data on this, because what is the tourism and these things, I think they might have graphs also, no?
No, sir. We have just collected the data from government sites and then we have made our own graphs.
Okay. Okay, but I think what Madam said is correct. You should go further. Just showing the graphs is not the sufficient actually. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, group 1, you can stop sharing. Group number 2, once you are ready, just let me know.
Yes.
Yeah. You can start sharing the screen.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Is my screen visible to all?
Yeah.
Okay.
So shall we start?
Yeah. You can start. Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Today, we would be presenting you a presentation on our topic Combined Analysis on Hill Stations. So now, let's plan a tour to some of the hill stations in Maharashtra and stay close to nature as close as possible.
India is world famous for its tourist destination because of its majestic and magnificent hill stations. Tourists from all over the world enjoy here the mesmerizing and indigenous view of the flora and fauna and the best adventure they could experience. The aims and objectives of our experimental research are as follows. To know whether there is association between marital status and expenses over food and shopping, to know whether there is association between gender and activities enjoyed on hill stations, to convince people to maintain the beauty of this hill station by preserving the nature, to identify the significant factors for revisiting these hill stations. The methodology of our research is as follows. Detailed digital questionnaire was prepared using Google Form and was sent to all the applicable respondents. A total of 129 responses were recorded in our survey. Below are the statistical softwares used by us in our research: SPSS, Excel, and Python. The following tests are performed on the clean data from our survey: chi-square, point biserial, and logistic regression. So further, we move on the analysis part using some charts and graphs. The first donut chart indicates that from total respondents, 54% are female respondents and 46% are male respondents. We received 41 responses from the people belonging to the age group 18 to 24, followed by 22 people belonging to the age group 25 to 34, and so on. Here, the line chart signifies that large number of people have traveled to Lonavala as compared to other hill stations. The below chart indicates only 12% have hired tourist guide and rest haven't hired. Here, the large percent of tourists have preferred 1 to 3 star hotels as compared to other sources of accommodation. I think so. You are on mute.
Yeah, group 2. You're saying something? Your voice is not coming.
Yes, your voice is little less.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes,
you're audible.
Please continue.
Sorry, sir. Sorry for this.
Sorry for the interruption.
To know whether there is a correlation between a true dichotomous variable, that is marital status, and a continuous variable, that is expenses spent on food shopping, the concept of point by serial correlation was used. Here, since correlation coefficient value turns out to be minus 0.445, which implies there is a weak but negative correlation, and hence we interpret that married spend more expenses on food, shopping than unmarried.
Further, we were interested to test independence between two classificatory scale variables. Here, column line chart signifies that almost equal number of male and female have enjoyed all the activities, which gives us a rough idea to interpret. But in statistics, we just don't rely on graphical interpretation, and hence a non-parametric test named chi-square test was used. Here, as we see, our p-value comes as 0.97, which is greater than 0.05, that is level of significance. Hence, we interpret not to reject H0 and conclude that there is no association between these two nominal variables.
Now, to know the significant factor due to which tourists will revisit the same hill station, we took help of logistic regression. Here we have taken 4 independent and a dependent categorical variable. Since overall model p-value is approx 0.05, hence we can interpret that our model will be significant. To find significant independent variables, we took help of WALT, that is Z statistic, and its probability. And since only 2 independent variables, namely service quality and interest in exploring new activities on same hill station, was significant. So our logic model finally turns out to be this. Further, we have calculated few probability values. Here, first probability value signifies that tourist will revisit the same hill station provided he is satisfied by the service quality and also is interested to explore new activities is 60%. Second probability signifies that tourist will revisit the same hill station provided he is satisfied by the service quality but not much interested in exploring new activities is 21%. And lastly, the probability signifies that the tourist will revisit same hill station provided he is not satisfied much by the service quality but is very much interested to explore new activities is 96%. So from logistic, we can interpret that even though if service quality is not best, but if activities are interesting, then there is a higher chances that tourists will revisit that hill station.
Here, the tree map predicts that among all the activities on these hill stations, the most enjoyed activity is observing the nature. And as the quote says, the greater threat to our planet is belief that someone else will save it. As we head further, in same instance, we all know every picture tells a story. So here, these pictures are enough to derive your attention to the issue faced by these beautiful hill stations. So not thinking about others' responsibilities and doing ours towards the nature is at least by avoiding throwing garbage here and there in these beautifully preserved destinations and try not to harm the nature's auspicious gift of flora and fauna to us.
Moving further to the conclusion slide, our first interpretation is that married spend more expenses on food shopping as compared to unmarried.
Secondly, there is no association between categorical variables, gender, and activities enjoyed.
Thirdly, from logistic regression, we interpret that authorities looking after heritage of these hill stations should focus more on bringing new activities for tourists.
Lastly, not a conclusion, but let's take a step to nurture the nature so that we can have a better future.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Very nice presentation. As per the expectations and the norms that are to be used in a statistical presentation, research-oriented presentation. I would like to just ask, what would you suggest to overcome the pollution that is created in these hill stations? How can you help people control it? Any ideas, any suggestions from your end?
Ma'am, actually, whenever we visit these hill stations, there are specific boards written everywhere that not to pluck this type of leaves or flora and fauna, and not to feed the animals, or not to just throw anywhere the litter. So at least we the educated people should look into that aspect and try not to litter these places.
Okay. Thanks.
Actually, it's a good that you have used start to end. So everything you have collected the data and then the conclusion based on some statistical methods. It's a good point. But I have some just questions on that one, doubts on that one. You have used some biserial correlation.
Yes.
What exactly meaning of the biserial correlation?
Sir, it is actually a point by serial correlation. So it is, sir, point by am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes, yes.
The point by serial correlation is a special case of Pearson's correlation. In Pearson correlation, we have two continuous variables as dependent and independent. But in point by serial correlation, we have a true dichotomous variable. For example, like here we have taken marital status and a continuous variable, that is expenses spent. So since we had to find correlation between a true dichotomous and a continuous variable, so the special case of Pearson correlation, that is point by serial correlation, was used here.
Okay, okay, good. But
to find correlation between a true dichotomous and a continuous variable.
Okay, but you remember what exactly the formula for that correlation? Okay. Okay, one point in the hypothesis you written not H naught. What exactly meaning of not H naught?
There won't be any correlation.
No, won't be any correlation.
There is correlation actually.
But correlation can be positive, can be negative. So it's a two-sided. So whether you are considering one-sided or two-sided, accordingly your p-value will change.
Okay.
So your hypothesis alternative should be proper. Not H naught doesn't have any meaning. So whether you are considering what the meaning of not you should provide. That's the main thing. Okay.
To be precise, I got it.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
One other point, you have considered some association test, chi-square test you have used, I think for gender or something.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In gender, in chi-square test, so your groupings will be one that is gender, male, female, and others is whatever you were observing nature and something. Okay.
Yes.
In chi-square test, I think you remember the independence is there. And the gender male female, they're complement of each other, no? So chi-square test is proper. Just think about it. I think you may not be aware of that test, so you have used it, but just check it out. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And okay, one good point is that you have collected the data.
Yes.
You have given the your questionnaire to somebody. Okay, how you have collected the data means which method you have used, which
Sir,
sampling
we have collected the primary data.
Sir, sampling method.
Yes, sampling method.
Yes.
Sir, stratified random sampling.
Okay, okay. What stratification you have considered?
So majorly married and unmarried.
Okay, but what your exactly topic is with respect to tourism, na? So your stratification should be related to that. Because your objectives is married and unmarried is a different issue. But while collecting the data, you should consider what your main title, tourism. So stratification should be different. But it's a good point that you have collected the using random sampling. That's the more important part. Okay, but overall the good project, you have used the statistical things and you presented nicely. In fact, in logistic regression, you have written the p-values, probabilities, and interpreted that. That is also a good point. And one more thing, just I want to say that whenever you are interpreting using p-value, the p-value is get rid of your alpha level, not to compare with your alpha. So always don't compare. The p-value is larger than 0.05, so we are rejecting on that one.
So basically p-value is used to get rid of that 0.05. And again, you are using that one. So always remember that the p-value and 0.05, don't compare that one. But it's overall good point. Good.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Excuse me,
Thank you.
sir. Excuse me, sir.
Huh?
Sir, actually, I had one query. Can I ask you, sir?
Yes.
Sir, for chi-square test, we see correlation between categorical variables, sir.
Yes.
So here we have used gender and activities. So, sir, these two variables, they both are categorical variables.
Yes. Huh?
So, sir, you were saying that male is complement of, sir, I didn't get that part.
No, basically a complement means what? Whenever you have the factors, if you have collected data for male or female, so if that person individual is not a male, that means definitely it's a female. So female is a complement of your male in this case.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
that's the point. So I told you that you may not have encountered in this topic, whatever I'm trying to say at undergraduate level, just you think about that. It's an additional point, maybe out other than your syllabus, because the chi-square test you have used with just your assumption of independence.
Yes,
so,
sir.
According to it's good, no point at all. But just additional point I am saying, you think about it.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, group number 3 is ready.
Yes.
Yeah. You can start sharing the screen. I will start the timer. Yeah, you can start.
Good afternoon, all. We are Group 3 and we would like to present the analysis on the topic of travel and tourism. India is a country that has intrigued travelers and tourists for a very long time. Today, India is a popular travel destination that offers unique experiences to the traveler. The key is to identify the need of the customer and to iterate a travel plan that best suits the traveler's needs and demands according to their age factor and financial needs. The research design used in this study was descriptive in nature. The study contains a sample size of 300 responses. The time period of the study was 1 week. In this study, the primary data was obtained through online survey questionnaire provided to the respondents. The questionnaire was prepared by my teammates and me. Major part of the data collection was carried over through the internet. The questionnaire is prepared using Google Forms and the link was sent to the respondents to record their responses and further analyze them. The objective was a study to analyze the scope of special interests of consumers for tourism-based services in India. The overview of the analysis was to study the special interests of tourists traveling while domestically in India. From the data collected using Google Forms, the dataset was divided into two parts according to their age groups, namely financially unstable and financially stable. To analyze the data, analyze the difference in choices made for travel and tourism by the two groups.
So the given chart shows that both the groups of people under 24 and above 24 prefer winter season to travel over other. And the reason behind this might be that in winter season, climate is very pleasant for traveling and there are lots of holidays in winter. Also, summer season is also preferred well over monsoon as there are summer holidays to school and colleges. While planning, since under 24 age group is not financially as stable, they make plans for trip suddenly when they get most time without any further planning. While the age group above 24 is relatively financially stable, so they think and plan most trip in advance. Both the age group prefer customized tour over pre-planned tour packages. The reason behind this might be that they don't get all the facilities and services as they wish in packages, hence opt for custom tour. Package tours simply don't leave room for a tourist to explore the destination alone or with friend and family, as it has already planned schedule that must be followed. We also find that the age group of 24 and above prefer customized tours that last more than a week. But while opting for pre-planned trips, they prefer weekend getaways. The age group of under 24 prefer weekend getaways in both the cases. It is also observed that majority of people choose to go on trips on weekends. It might be because most people can make time from their busy schedules during the weekend, as people prefer to go on such weekend getaways with family and relatives more than with their work colleague or friends, as they might not be able to give more time to them during their busy weekdays. And because of the current work from home scenario, it is more feasible for the people to take some time off on the weekend for the rest and relaxation rather than planning a long trip lasting more than a week. It is observed that India's most attractive tourist destinations are beaches, hill stations, camping sites, places with historical significance, and as we have seen that majority of people travel on weekend, so these spots are perfect for them. Now, let's look into destination demographics. We always, before planning our trips, take factors in consideration like climate, culture, history of the location in consideration. Climate is the most significantly preferred deciding factor. The rich history of the place is just as much preferred by the consumer. People that travel domestically have moderate preference for the cultural significance as they are already aware of them. Before planning any trips, the destination is selected or information about the destination is taken from the internet. Hence, most of the travel agencies are working on digital marketing for advertising their tours and travels. Because of the COVID scenario, travelers prefer well-sanitized hotels with safety and security. Also, they consider the transport facilities available for reaching the destination, and connectedness of transport, quality of accommodation is just as important. And possibilities of shopping, comment from relatives and friends, online reviews may not be as important.
In conclusion, we can say that most people travel either with friends and family. And in this time of the pandemic, weekend getaways have gotten significantly popular amongst all kinds of travelers, and they travel mostly to the places that they can be most relaxed at. We can also see that the inclination of consumers towards customized tours is rapidly increasing because of the convenience it provides in certain important aspects, such as cost of the trip. The consumer can reduce the cost of the trip significantly, but may not be able to enjoy certain opportunities that are provided in a pre-planned tour package. Hence, there is a need for affordable pre-planned packages to be widely introduced by travel agencies that provide only and only pre-planned tours. Thank you. And
Okay, good presentation, but as we have said earlier in the first two presentations, no hypothesis. Objectives were also not clearly mentioned, right? And then suggestions, recommendations, what are your findings, like what you have observed through it and what you would recommend to improve the travel and tourism scenario in India. So these things are missing in the project. Okay, your contribution plays a very important role when you study some topic. Fine?
Yes.
Yeah. All the best.
Thank you.
Okay. You have used some graphs.
Yes.
In that graph, some of the categories are almost flat.
Yes.
That means there is no answer, some zero values may be there. That
Yes.
means if it is more than that, then you should have different graph. So I think I have seen one graph where it only, I think for 3 points, there was a bar and others is zero only. So
Yes.
rather than going for bar, you can represent in a different way. So that a better presentation than this one. And in one of the, I think you have graphs. So can you just go back to some slides?
Yes, yes.
And there was a line graph or something, and you return some sentence or something. The last, this one, some additional findings or something. There you return, I'm just reading from the last one, third, ND also from sources UHVBEI.
So
So
that
whenever,
is actually, we had given them, the respondents, an option where they could
that's
write
okay.
any other reasons for
That's
them.
okay. Whatever the response, but when you are presenting anything, such things should not be there. You modify your graph or edit it properly so that we can see it properly, not like this one. You can write while analyzing or collecting, it's a different issue. But when you are presenting, others don't use some short forms or something like that one.
Yes.
Your presentation should be like that one. Okay, I think
Yes,
other things already Madam had said. Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, group number 4.
Yes.
So once you're ready, let me know. Group number 3, stop sharing your screen.
Yes, sir. Can we start?
Yes, you can start.
Good evening to everyone present here. First of all, we would like to thank the Department of Statistics of Jhunjhunwala College for organizing this competition. We will be presenting on our topic, travel and tourism in Austria. Austria is a country located in southern part of Central Europe with a population of 9 million and tourism as an important part of our national economy. Our objective for the analysis are to study and present the factors involved in tourism of Austria from 2004 to 2021, to analyze the purpose of visit of tourists, to forecast the future trend of tourists visiting Austria using secondary data. This is the data set which we have obtained from the website as shown below. It contains the years, occupancy ratio during summer and winter seasons, number of arrivals, holidays, and business trips done by domestic and abroad tourists. Let us look at the first objective, which is graphical representation of our data. The number of arrivals of tourists are plotted against its respective years, showing a linear growth over the time, except the years 2020 and 2021, where tourism industry was shut down due to COVID-19 pandemic. The occupancy ratio shows the number of hotel beds booked upon the total number of beds available. The average occupancy is 32.1%, with the occupancy during winter season was higher than summer, stating more people preferred to travel during the winter season. From 2004 to 2019, tourists visiting Austria for holiday purposes was increasing, but the pandemic resulted in slight decrease in the number of tourists. While the business trips over the period of years was similar, overall resulting in tourists making more holiday trips than business trips.
A second objective is to analyze the purpose of visit of tourists. So we start by checking the normality of the business trips and holiday trips using R. For holiday trips, null hypothesis is defined as data is normal against the alternative hypothesis in which the data is not normal. Further, by applying the Shapiro test to the holiday trips, we get p-value for the number of visitors, which is greater than alpha. And for tourists visiting from abroad, its p-value is less than alpha at 5% level of significance. Thus, data for domestic tourists is normal, while the data for the abroad tourists is not normal. Similarly, to find the normality of the business trips data by applying the Shapiro test, we can say that data for domestic tourists is not normal, while the data for the abroad tourists is normal. Since our data consists of two independent samples which are not normal, we cannot go with t-test. So we apply Wilcoxon-Ransom test in which it is a non-parametric test used for ordinal distribution. Let's see the hypothesis to be tested. Here our H0 is median of the domestic tourist is equal to the median of the abroad tourist against H1, in which the median of the domestic tourist is not equal to the median of the abroad tourist. The test statistics for the Wilcoxon-Ransom test is as shown. So the decision criteria is that we reject H0 if p-value is less than alpha. By applying the Wilcoxon test in R, for holiday trips, we get p-value greater than alpha at 5% level of significance. Therefore, we do not reject H0, and hence we conclude that the median of the domestic tourist is equal to the abroad tourist. Similarly, we apply the Wilcoxon-Ransom test to the business trips, with which we can conclude that the median of the domestic tourist is equal to the median of the abroad tourist on business trips. Our next objective is time series forecasting. Time series forecasting is a process of predicting the future values with the help of some statistical tools and methods used on data sets with historical data. Some of the applications of time series forecasting are predicting the stock prices, forecasting weather, and to forecast the sales of the product, etc. There are various techniques for time series analysis. One of which we have used here is the ARIMA model. It is one of the most popular used techniques used for time series analysis and forecasting purposes. ARIMA, as you can see here, it stands for Autoregressive Integrated Moving Average, and it is specified by the three order parameters, that is P, D, and Q.
Model creation and forecasting have been done using R. Here, the step 1 is to create the time series. To run the forecasting model in R, we need to convert the data into time series object, which is done by using the TS function. Now let's move on to step 2, which is visualizing the time series. It is essential to analyze the trends prior to building any kind of time series model. We will now plot a time series data using the plot function. The year-on-year trend shows that the number of arrivals have been increasing with time, except for the years 2020 and 2021 due to the lockdowns caused by the pandemic. As we can see that a series is not stationary, so we transform the series by differencing it. To check if a transform series is stationary or not, we use the augmented Dickey-Fuller test, which is one of the popular ways to check the same. Here, the null hypothesis is that the series is stationary against alternative hypothesis, series is not stationary. We use the ADF test function on a transform series with lag order 0. As shown here, p-value is less than alpha, which is 0.05, so we conclude that a series is stationary. Hence, we take D is equals to 1. We now plot the transform series with differences as 1. From the plot, we get to know that a transform series is stationary. The next step is to find the optimal parameters P and Q of the ARIMA model. We use the ACF function on the transform series and obtain the following plot. If all the lags are within the blue dotted line, it indicates that there is no autocorrelation. In ACF, anything outside the lines will be telling us the order of the moving average, that is Q. And from here, we get to know that Q is 0. Similarly, from PACF function, we get the order of autoregressive component, that is P. And from here, we get to know that P is equal to 0. Next, we will build our ARIMA model. We use the package called forecast and use the ARIMA function to create an ARIMA model on a time series. Smaller the values of AIC and BIC, better is the model. After a few iterations, we found that the order 0, 1, 0 comes out to be the combination with the least AIC and BIC. The next step is diagnostic checking. The check residual function on our ARIMA model provides us with 3 plots, from which the first plot depicts the frequency of residuals over the years. The second plot shows
no autocorrelation between the residuals as no lag exceeds the dotted lines. The third plot shows that the residuals are normally distributed. The check residual function also provides us with the result of Box-Lens test, which test if a model does not exhibit lack of fit. Here, the p-value is greater than alpha, which is 0.05. So we conclude that our ARIMA model does not exhibit lack of fit.
Let us have a look at the final step, which is predicting the future values. We make predictions using the forecast function on our ARIMA model for the next 5 years. It provides us with a table containing point forecasted values and 80 and 95% confidence interval for the number of arrivals of tourists in Austria. In order to convert our tabular values into a graph, we use the autoplot function. As it is shown here, the predicted values for the next 5 years are constant since there was no decline in the number of tourists throughout the years except for 2020 and 2021 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So, from the graph, we can conclude that in a normal situation, the number of arrivals might increase in the upcoming years. However, if the pandemic continues, we cannot be sure about the future trend. This is the overall conclusion of our project. And the software used were RStudio and Excel. Thank you.
Hello, you could have made it more creative by taking us on a journey to Austria as to what are the places to be visited. Just a minute. So you could have made it more interesting and more creative than just giving the statistical aspects of it. Okay.
Okay.
Over to the next.
Okay.
Again, hypothesis things were missing. Like that's my observation.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's a good point. But as Madam said, but that's correct because in between whatever the syntax you have shown or some why you are going for what exactly non-parametric test, this is not required because you are presenting what you have done. How you have done is a backend for us. So in front of other people's what you have done, how you have done means some test procedure, your hypothesis, and whatever the conclusion is more important rather than what package means your syntax, what the meaning of that test is. This is not required, that you can remove. Okay, so some points that I have. At the beginning, you have considered the normality. Okay, in that case, you are saying that data is normal. Data never be normal. Who with the normality? The normality, you are checking the normality for what? A variable. So whatever the variable is following the normal, not the data is a normal. So data is a wrong word. That's hypothesis is not the correct. And the variable, whatever you are saying, the which variable you are using in that, what's your variable in the checking for the normality?
The purpose of visit.
Holiday and business trip.
No, you are saying you're checking here normality. Yes. Your data is normal. So what's the meaning of your data? Which variable you are using?
In purpose of visit, we have two parts, holiday trips and business trips. Even there we have further bifurcations like are these domestic tourists or foreign tourists? So the variables are domestic tourist and foreign tourist.
Okay, that means that is a total number of tourists.
Yeah.
Normal distribution is discrete or continuous?
It's continuous.
Continuous. The total number of tourists is a discrete or continuous?
Discrete.
So can it be a discrete variable can follow continuous variable? It definitely not. So here only it says means just you have the data and use the statistic rather you just your logic because this variable is your total number. So it's a discrete variable. So definitely it will not be a normal. So if you are using the total number, you can go with the non-parametric or you can say average if you have any other information. So the first point that you think about, going for any analysis, just think the backend, what is the required part that, okay, that is the thing. And I think you have used the time series modeling and that one, but whatever the data you have considered, the very first is the autocorrelation. You haven't considered the autocorrelation with the original data set. You started with the stationarity and something. You use the plot and says that it's not a stationary, but you have to plot first autocorrelation, check out whether autocorrelation is there with the original data. If there is autocorrelation, then you can go for the time series model. Otherwise, your simple regression model is sufficient for that. Also, in this time series model, when you consider the differencing, after differencing your autocorrelation plot and the partial autocorrelation plot, it's almost zero. So it says it's an independence. So there is no need of any time series modeling. That's why you are getting P0, Q0. Which means P0, that is no dependence. Q0 means there is no moving average at all. And differencing is 1. So the some simple transformation of difference is sufficient. And you can go for your regression model. That is also sufficient. Rather than going for time series model. So just plotting, you can think about before that one, if the plot itself shows that it's not correlated. So no need to go for time series model. Your simple things are sufficient. Okay. Okay, I think it's okay, but think about it properly. Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you can make better presentation next times also. Okay, good. But overall, whatever you have done is good point, good exercise that you have done. Many things you have done. Only you can think of means just starting any analysis. Think about how we can analyze. What are the different options we might have. Okay. Okay, good one. But overall, the good exercise that you have done. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, group number 5.
Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
No. Yeah, now it is visible. Yeah.
So am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay.
You can start.
Okay. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, Paryatana. Good evening, one and all present here. Today, we are here to know, explore, and learn more about travel behavior of an individual with respect to different factors, which is our prime objective, followed by the other few objectives as you can see on the screen. Moving on to the overview of our data, we have collected our data by keeping the sampling frame as Mumbai city, suburbs, and Thane. Data is collected using a questionnaire in which initially we received 111 observations, and after cleaning the data, the final number of observations were 104. Okay, so now let's begin. Me and my 2 friends are going to travel to Manali, and we want all of you to accompany us on this journey. So please, place yourself and let us get started. Now, we all have that destination where we want to go next. Let's see where most of the people wants to go. So from this word cloud, we can see most of them do not have any plans due to this COVID situation. But some others like us wants to visit Manali, Canada, US, and so many. But do you know how we decided Manali? Yes, by watching a movie. Simultaneously, you all will also have a reason to decide. But what's that? From the graph, we can see most of the students and the employed people plan their travel destinations after hearing from their friends, whereas the business sector plan their travels after hearing it from their families. Now, once the destination is chosen, what next? Yes, preparations. Just like me, from the graphs on the left, we can see that preparations begin mostly 1 to 3 weeks in advance for domestic trips, whereas 4 to 6 months in advance for an international trip. Also, I mostly choose to travel with my family and friends. And the pie chart on the right shows the exactly same thing, that is, most of the people, that is around 52% of the people, that is Mumbaikars, like to travel with their families.
So once we started planning for the trip, the question comes, what will be the duration of the vacation? Here we can see that majority of people decide to stay for 2 to 5 days. We should plan in advance the mode of transport we are going to take while traveling. This pie chart shows that people prefer mostly the railways followed by the airways. So that was about the different modes of traveling. But do you guys know, while traveling, I always leave my earphones. Yes, earphones are my traveling essential. Let's see what other people traveling essentials are. This word cloud tells us that earphones, charger, medicines, books are some of the most essential travel items. Let's jump on to another word cloud, and a very interesting one. This word cloud tells us that chips, biscuits, sandwiches are some of the food items that people carry the most while traveling. There are always things to be taken care of before traveling. Let's see what are some of the loose ends that people need to tie up before traveling. This bar graph tells us that winding up school and college work is on the list of a lot of people.
Traveling and technology. The first chart on our screen tells us that 84% of the people try to reduce usage of their phone when they are on their vacation so that they can enjoy the new place a little more. The second chart tells us about what people like to photograph the most when they're on a travel. And that chart tells us that most of the people enjoy taking photos of themselves and their fellow travelers when they're on a vacation, followed by taking pictures of the nature. Talking about technology, the most used app on my phone is a language learning app. Whenever I travel to a new country or a new city, I make sure that I learn some phrases that the locals use so that I can feel a little more comfortable while I'm traveling. And our data tells us that most men and women also prefer learning a new language before they travel. This bar chart right here tells us about the activities that people like to do while traveling. And that tells us that most men like to sleep while they're traveling, whereas most women like to listen to music while they're traveling. And like almost most of the other women, even I love listening to music while I'm traveling. But usually what happens is, as soon as I put my hand in my bag to grab my earphones, I realize that I have forgotten my earphones. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. Let's see what other people have forgotten to take on a trip. Right here, we can see that something as basic as toothbrush is the most forgotten item to take on a trip, whereas some others seem to have a great memory and have forgotten nothing on a trip. Chargers, combs, and medicines are some of the other forgotten items on a trip. All right, now, brace yourselves because I want everybody present here to play a game along with me. It's called Rapid Fire Travel Edition. I will give everybody 2 choices and you have to choose one of them. Make sure you're quick. Also, after I give you these choices, I will also show you a bar chart that will represent what people in general have chosen from the 2 options. All right then, are you ready? Your first 2 options are fancy restaurant or local food spot. Be quick, choose one. This is what people have said about it. Next one, relaxing trip or adventurous trip. Choose one. Another one, overpack or pack light. Next one, beaches or mountains. Well, wasn't that fun? Let's do another round of that. Well, your first option is go with the flow or have a plan. Would you enjoy your travel in a city or a countryside trip? Party nights or quiet nights? Journaling or taking photos? Well done, everybody. Well played. Now, I want to ask you, what guided you to take these choices so quickly? For me, it was my dream travel destination. And not all of us have at least one dream travel destination. Let's see what are the most common dream travel destinations. Well, this word cloud tells us that Switzerland, Paris, and Maldives are some of the most common dream travel destinations. And why not? Such beautiful places. And with that, we come to the conclusions of our project. Right now, we conclude that right now, most people do not have any plans due to the current pandemic. The next travel destinations are mostly influenced by their friends Although people like traveling with their families, 2 to 5 days is the most preferred vacation duration. For a domestic trip, railways are the most preferred mode of travel. Most people try to reduce uses of their phone and other technological stuff when they're on their travel. Most people prefer learning a new language when they travel so that they're a little more comfortable with the locals of that place. Also, when you talk about activities that we do while traveling, most men like to sleep, whereas most women like listening to music. Also, before I end, make sure that on your next trip, you carry your toothbrush because that very basic thing is what most people have forgotten. And with that, we end our presentation. Thank you for listening, everybody.
Well, friends, it was well presented in a very interesting manner, but the statistical part of it was widely missing. In a sense, the hypothesis and the analysis part, your
Yes,
recommended.
about that, because the competition was put forward as a visual storytelling competition, we interpreted it as drawing observations from a graph. That's how we interpreted it.
Okay. The game was very nice, way of presenting the data in a very jovial manner. So that was quite interesting. So good. Overall, good.
Okay. Okay. You said that you have used the random sampling. You collected the sample, huh?
Yes, sir.
How you have collected the sample?
Using convenient random sampling. So we made a questionnaire and we sent it across through our college group, our friends, on various social media groups. So we have done a convenient random sampling.
Okay. So being a statistics student, is convenient sampling is preferable?
Due to the time constraints, this time we've opted for a convenient random sampling.
If you are using convenience, misconclusion may not be your correct representing the population. Okay. In conclusions, you return to 3 sentences, that 2 or 3 days vacation or something like that one.
2 to 5 days is the most preferred vacation.
Okay. Sunny, can you just go for the conclusion?
Sure.
Okay. So one point now, most people don't have travel plans due to pandemic and the 2 to 5 days. From where you got this conclusion? Because in your presentation, nothing is mentioned about pandemic situation and 2-5 days, how many days you have collected. Then how you got this conclusion?
The first one that you asked about, the pandemic one, we had asked people what will be your next travel destination. So most of the people replied with they don't have any plans right now due to COVID. From the word cloud, we've made that conclusion.
Okay, from word cloud, you said, okay. And what about 2 to 5?
From this bar graph, sir.
Mostly the duration of your vacation. Okay, from here you are saying, okay.
Yes.
Okay, okay. But as madam said, you must have some techniques to conclude, means strong, something to say anything about the conclusion.
Yes, sir, we understand, yes.
Okay, but overall it's good point, good presentation. Okay, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, group number 6 is already done. So group number 7.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, ready?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You can start sharing.
अरे तुम ये दरवाजा बंद कर Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Hey, you know what? I'm bored. I feel like going to a hilly region. But there is an issue that my agent is not in town.
And why don't you try something new this time?
Like what? I didn't get you.
Why to depend on agent? There are also other online methods through which you can plan your trip. We should not confuse others anymore. Let's dive into our topic and take a closer look at it, that is, role of digitalization in travel and tourism. Let's start with the quote. Not all who wander are lost, as quoted by famous author J.R.R. Tolkien. And this is true in its literal sense in this time that we are living in. Let's take a closer look at the picture of the new improved tourism industry due to technology and the scope of improvement in the future.
We collected our data through Google Form, shared via WhatsApp and Instagram. For data cleaning and data visualization, we have used Excel, and later for analysis, we used RStudio.
In this way, we proceeded with our survey, and according to the responses we got, we made here some interpretations.
Proceeding further, this slide is response of male and female, that is 62% and 38% respectively. And we asked how many number of trips they do in a year, and the responses were higher, and the highest number of responses were 2 and 3 annually.
Moving ahead, we circulated our form in both metro cities as well as in non-metro cities. And more than 46% response for mode of transportation is railways from both metro cities and non-metro cities. Then the second highest preferred option is roadways, then airways, and the less used way is water transport.
Further, we wanted to know mode of payment that travelers are using in this digital age. It is evidently clear from the pie chart that around 2/3 of respondents prefer digital payment over offline methods like cash and check. In online mode, the highest preferable mode is Google Pay, then Paytm, and so on.
This graph shows that from where people get aware about the places they wanted to visit. And these are the various ways like Google, YouTube, Instagram, and also referred by family and friends. These are the major ways in which they get aware.
As we got more responses of Google Pay and then Paytm, so we are interested to know the association between region and people who uses Google Pay and Paytm. So we have used chi-square distribution, and our null hypothesis is there is no association between region and frequency of people uses Google Pay, versus alternate hypothesis is there is association between region and frequency of people using Google Pay. In metro city, 64 people do not use Google Pay and 112 people uses Google Pay. And in non-metro cities, 34 people do not use Google Pay and 51 people use it. By using our programming, we computed the p-value, that is 0.5697. As p-value is greater than 0.05, we have insufficient evidence to reject null hypothesis at 5% of level of significance. Therefore, we concluded that there is no association between region and frequency of people uses Google Pay.
As our second highest payment gateway is Paytm, similarly, we will check association between region and the frequency of people uses Paytm. So our null hypothesis is no association between region and the frequency of people using Paytm, versus alternate hypothesis is there is association between region and frequency of people using Paytm. In metro cities, 84 people uses Paytm and 92, in metro cities, 84 do not use Paytm and 92 do use Paytm. In non-metro, 35 people do not use a Paytm and 50 do use it. By using our programming, we computed the p-value, that is 3.194. As p-value is greater than 0.05, we have insufficient evidence to reject X naught at 5% of level of significance. Therefore, we concluded that there is no association between region and frequency of people using Paytm.
We got the highest responses for awareness of the places, places is that Google, and second highest was Instagram. So we are interested to know the proportion of people in metro and non-metro cities are aware of the places from Google and Instagram. According to our data, we have used proportion test, and our null hypothesis is P1 equals to P2, where P1 and P2 are proportion of people in metro and non-metro cities are aware of the places from Google respectively. In metro and non-metro cities, 112 people and 51 people respectively are aware of the places from Google. We have used R programming and computed p-value, that is 0.6656, as p-value is greater than 0.05. We have insufficient evidence to reject null hypothesis at 5% of level of significance. Therefore, we concluded that proportion of people in metro and non-metro cities are aware of places from Google respectively.
As we got second highest from Instagram, so we are interested to know the proportion of people in metro and non-metro cities are aware from Instagram. According to our data, we use proportion testing, and our null hypothesis is P1 equal to P2, where P1 and P2 are proportion of people in metro and non-metro cities. In metro and non-metro cities, 108 people and 53 people respectively are aware from Instagram. We used R programming and computed p-value, that is 0.9855. And as p-value is greater than 0.05, we have insufficient evidence to reject null hypothesis at 5% of level of significance. Therefore, we concluded that a proportion of people in metro and non-metro cities are aware of places from Instagram respectively.
Still, a lot of people believe to carry cash while traveling, even though they have booked their tickets online. But still, this number of cashless is growing more as compared to what it would have been in the past.
Here is the graph shows season-wise comparison with the future trip plans. In winters, people mostly like to visit adventurous tourism places like trekking, rock climbing, etc. Both beaches and cultural heritage sites expect average number of tourists in summer and winters. For ecotourism, summer and winters are the best time to visit. And for towns and cities, summer, and for winter sport area, winter is the best time to visit. As you can see the pie chart, a whooping 82% of respondees believe that digitalization in travel and tourism space has made it a lot easier for them to plan and execute their dream destination. There are few respondees who feel that digitalization hasn't made that kind of impact, and very small chunk of respondees not sure how digitalization has made tourism easy.
Gone are the days when people had to go to travel agency and stand in long queues for hours to book their tickets. Digitalization has made it easier to book tickets, plan the itinerary, plan the finance, that is by saving on commission due to digitalization in tourism. Choosing the perfect location and also in a pocket-friendly budget has become a norm, which in turn will boost tourism in India. Diversified option and can make any last minute changes to the trip. Enjoy your trip stress-free and happily. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice presentation, quite interesting.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. No questions from my end.
Okay, it's a good point that you have considered the chi-square test, and overall presentation is good. Means whatever the digitalization you have considered, it's a different point of view. It's a good point, but I think you can use some additional tests also, just going for only chi-square test, because you have the data, quite many data values you might have. Okay, but how you have collected the data?
By Google Form, we have digitally sent it to our friends, relatives, like
through WhatsApp and Instagram.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you have collected the primary data.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So how means which method you have used?
Method as in, sir? Sorry, we couldn't get you.
Means sampling methods. Which sampling method you have used for collecting the sample?
Yes, sir.
Which method? So have you used any method or just given to anybody? Forwarded Google form to your groups?
No, not particularly any method, sir.
Okay. Huh. So
Simple
convenient
sample.
sampling, that's one's.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Okay, I think. But I think you better use, as a student of statistics, you better use this random sampling. That will be the better. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, but overall everything
Keep
is good
in
point.
mind.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Can stop sharing screen. Yeah, thank you. So all the participants are wait. Judges are just working on the results part. So all the participants kindly fill the attendance form, which is already shared. Link is already shared in the group. Okay, so those who are presented as well as those who have participated. Okay, please fill it now fast.
All students, whether you are attending or present at the papers, all of you should fill this form, attendance form.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So by the time judges will judges is working in result part, is any students or anybody participants who have just participated, they want to share their experience, how they have worked and what are difficulty they face while presenting, while doing, or while collecting the data, while analyzing? Any participants would you like to share their experience? Yes, anybody?
It was a very nice experience actually. Like
Yeah.
from our presentation, we got to learn many things, but along with it, like the others also presented so many tests, and also from there also we got to know many stuffs, new stuffs actually.
Okay, okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, sure. There's a lot of things that
Yeah, you
we've
can start.
seen today.
Yeah, you can start your camera and you can say.
No, it's okay. So, yeah, we as students of SY, many of these tests we've not even learned. So, this was a new,
Okay, okay.
things that we have seen that, maybe next year we get to learn.
Yeah, so that's why there is a condition in your like the points we have mentioned, not all from TY. So at least we can some students, one or two students from TY and one student from SY, so that they will learn it from TY students. So now I
Yes.
think your group is all SY, right? Group
Yes,
number
we were
6.
all three were from
Yeah.
SY. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So might be
But
can coordinate.
comparatively, you did very well then.
Yeah, yeah,
from,
yeah.
even
Definitely,
though
yeah.
you are from SY, you did very well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, can I say something?
Yeah, definitely, you can. You can go
Yes,
ahead.
sir.
Go ahead.
Sir, while conducting the survey, we actually had forwarded to many students and means college people. So we had
Right.
many 18 to 24 segment of students, but we
Right.
hadn't that upper age limits.
Hmm.
So for that, we had to contact our relatives and the teachers of our department to do that for us.
Okay.
Also the male female ratio, like in our data also we were like we got a more of a female ratio than the male responses.
Oh, great. So see, while collecting the primary data, these problems are always there. So to tackle this problem, we can, as sir has already suggested, the sampling, and also sampling will be not as per your convenience. It's based on your topic. So you can next time you can think of that. So how it, like this, which sampling technique will be more appropriate while collecting the data. Anybody else want to share in more experience? Group number 7. Yeah.
I think when we collect primary data, data cleaning is the most difficult part.
Okay.
Like to analyze and figure out things from that data. This is what we have faced. Like data cleaning was the difficult part for us.
Okay.
Excuse me, sir. Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, actually, we also face this problem. The data cleaning part, actually fitting that data in our analysis, or I can say the cleaning part. It's very difficult. What we want, we have to sort everything from the data and keep what we want in it. And then fit everything according to our analysis and tests. It's actually what we learn, the new concepts also.
Okay. So now everybody is waiting for the results. Tuck. Everything is going on from the bottom heart, and patiently we are waiting for the results. Let's see. So a few more minutes, we'll wait.
Actually, result is part and parcel of any competition.
Yeah.
But as the first group, when they spoke, I don't know group number, but I think group 4 or somebody said that we learn a lot while collecting the data and analysis of the data, but at the same time we learn here also while listening to other presentations. So that was the trick actually. We study with our project as well as by looking at the different projects what the other students have done from various colleges.
Yeah,
that
even
makes lot of difference.
one students also mentioned like they're from SYBSE, so they haven't used so far the all tests and all. So that's why they won't able to apply that. But definitely
No, it is very courageous that way for them. No?
Yeah, and even for them, they have the next year opportunity, like they are in SY, so they can participate again. They can have the more experience.
Yes, absolutely. Now you have seen what is expected, and so next year you will come up with new ideas, and then actually what is the requirement over here. You will do accordingly. And the knowledge of TY will also definitely help you to choose the different tests and graphs. Testing of hypothesis will be, will be more useful over here in that case. How many of you were there, last night work? Almost all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yesterday,
Puri raat?
day after also.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Whole week busy with the
I know.
topics.
पूरे नींद में भी वही टॉपिक दिखाई देता है फिर इतना हम लोग लास्ट
morning we were having some
Till
doubts
the
about
present. Till the presentation, we had that thought only. Ki we have to explain this stuff, and that.
Suraj sir, will you just share the feedback link for to the
attendance
to the participants only? Sir is now.
That is on WhatsApp group, na?
Okay,
That's supposed to be done on WhatsApp group.
Yeah, just share it in WhatsApp group so that by the time the students will fill it. Na?
Yes. All participants who have participated in this competition, they can fill that form, which will be shared on your WhatsApp group.
Yes.
We have to fill it individually, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody had face any problem while collecting the data, especially Google form? Because it is really difficult. People little hesitate to collect the data, to give the data. So did you feel any difficulty in collection? अरे बार बार याद करना पड़ रहा है, किसी को याद दिलाना पड़ रहा है. You have to resend the form again and again. Was it like that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. That had occurred.
25 observations were like people came forward and gave it like very nicely, but then we had to again and again message them and remind them ki bharo bharo bharo.
How many of you are presenting for the first time? Yes.
So I guess our result is ready. I request judges Velasini madam. Velasini madam, can you hear me?
Just 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So, hello everyone. Respected Chaya Madam, Head of the Statistics Department. Then Kiran Kodwankar Sir, Vice Principal.
Hello, excuse me, madam. Jay sir, will you introduce first judges?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
First, I'll
yes.
introduce.
Yeah.
Hello, good
Let us know
afternoon.
more about judges first, and then we will see their result.
Yes. So, good evening, one and all present here. It's my great pleasure to introduce our today's judges of this competition. So, let us start with our Vilasini madam. Madam was head of Department of Commerce at Ramchandra College of Arts and Science and Commerce, and now she is retired and enjoying her retired life. Madam has completed her Masters in Commerce from Karnataka University, and she scored first rank, and she's gold medalist in MCOM. And later on, she has completed her PhD in year 2008, and she was recognized as a PhD guide in commerce by Mumbai University. Madam has 37 years of teaching experience in UG. She was also visiting faculty in various colleges. Some of them are Bullen College of Commerce, Dr. V.N. Bedekar Institute of Management Studies and Research, and many more. She has also been invited in various institutes as a guest speaker and a resource person for various conferences. Madam has also published research papers, and she is also co-author of some books of commerce, namely Business Development, Principles of Management and Finance, Marketing and Human Resource Management, and her achievements are many. It is not possible for me to count on fingers. So, Madam, thank you so much for accepting our invitation and being here. Thank you so much, Madam. Now, moving to our next judge, Dr. Alok Dabade, sir. Sir currently is Assistant Professor in Department of Statistics, University of Mumbai. Sir has completed his MSc from University of Pune in year 2002 and cleared his state eligibility test in 2003. Later, sir has also completed his MPhil in 2008 and PhD in 2012 from University of Pune. Sir has 19 years of teaching experience at UG and PG level. Sir was also a visiting faculty in different institutes and universities, and some of them are H.V. Desai College in Pune, Mitibai College in Mumbai, NMIMS University in Mumbai, and different departments of University of Mumbai. Sir has been also invited in various institutes as a resource person and guest speaker for various conferences. In the field of research work related to statistics, sir has done a commendable job, and sir has also published research papers in national and international journals. Some of them are modeling heterogeneity in bivariate survival data by compound Poisson distribution using Bayesian approach, Bayesian estimation of parameters, and comparison of shared gamma-Felty models. A comparative study of shared Felty model with kidney infection data with generalized exponential baseline distribution and minimum. Sir's work in the research field is appreciable and is very difficult to extend his work in shorter time. So as I'm saying, one full session is required to explain or to discuss the work of sir in research field. Again, thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation and being here. Once again, I thank both of you. Thank you so much. Now I'll request our judge, Dr. Amrut Dabade, sir, to give their inputs and suggestions to our participants.
Okay, thank you, Jai Shankar. Thank you very much for the nice introduction. And you said that's a 19-year service. That's me, sir. I can take the. I'm ready to take VRS now next year. Thank you for that. Okay. So coming to the point, it's actually a good activity for all the students as well as for the college faculty, because to learn inferential statistics just through the textbooks or reference books is not the sufficient. Whenever you are going out or when you got selected in any of the companies, they are not taking how theoretical background you have, how you are applying your statistics. So always the projects or analysis, data analysis always gives the better understanding in any of the statistical techniques, especially in testing of hypothesis, estimation. Now, as madam said, it's a mixed group of FY, SY, TY. So you might have learned some statistical techniques, you may not have learned. So it's a good point that to learn how to analyze the data, there are many things. Some of the points we both have raised using like random sampling or some statistical concept or something, how to write the hypothesis and all that things. All these things not to say that what you have not done. Rather, I would like to say what can be in future, what you can do, or how you can modify your projects in future. So you think in a positive way. And whatever the comments you have made, take it a positive way, and in future you can make it properly. Proper suggestions and everything, you can have the good presentations in future. So I think it's a good activity. The congratulations to department, all the faculties, and also for the students who participated in that. They also the good activity. In fact, I also have got the good things. Actually, it's also new for me also that undergraduate college are doing. It's a great point. It's a good point for all of us. Okay. Thank you. Actually, thank you for inviting me for this session. Okay. Thank you. I think
it's our pleasure.
No, it's
thank you.
Pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good. Now I'll request Vilasini madam to give their suggestions and inputs.
Madam, you are on mute.
Okay. Yeah, good evening, everyone. So you all are eagerly waiting for the results. It's past 2 hours that we are listening to all the different presentations. And definitely the result is the most important aspect of any competition. But as said rightly by Praveen right in the beginning, that all of you are winners. The very point, the very day you decide to participate in any competition, itself gives you a lot of confidence. It's a lot of learning, and you take home a lot of lessons from the participation that you do. And therefore, I would like to congratulate all the 7 groups and all the participants of the 7 groups for having done so much of effort during the last week or last month since the competition was announced. But I know recent students, they work in the last hours. So nevertheless, irrespective of the time that you have spent on data collection, thinking about the topic, participating, and then doing the presentation part, you have done a fabulous job. And we are very proud of all of you as to how you can get so many novel ideas. But nevertheless, I can just point out certain things as to how you can improve upon. All of you have done excellently, but when you're participating in any of the competitions, certain things you have to bear at the back of the mind, so that your presentation, your performance can become excellent. Now, first of all, when it is such a type of research competition, see, the theme of the competition is very important, and most of you have taken that into consideration. It was a visual storytelling. So some of you have made it very interesting. So if you can put it in a story format and still incorporate all the statistical aspects that are required, it would have become really wonderful. Some of you have done a very good job, some couldn't, okay? But nevertheless, bear it in mind. Another important aspect was they had given you a topic, travel and tourism. So you had to focus on it, and majority of you, almost everyone, has abided by that theme, that is travel and tourism. Now, when you're selecting a topic, the first thing that should come to your mind is, why are you going to do research? Because unless and until you see a problem in a topic, there's no point in doing any research. So something should really trouble you, and that should be the starting point. So what is the problem that you see? So define your topic, have a nice title, which is very interesting. And apart from that, you try to point out what was your starting point, what is the problem that you envisage, and towards that problem, you work out your research activity. Like, you define the problem properly, and then you lay down your hypothesis. What is your basic hypothesis, the null hypothesis and the alternative hypothesis? You have to define both, as in one of the groups had mentioned, not HO. Not HO will not be sufficient. You have to define it in words, okay? Then you have to give your objectives of your study, that is primary objectives and secondary objectives. You can classify in that sort also, that manner. Then some of you have used the research methodology or explained the research methodology. And whenever you're participating in such type of competitions, collecting primary data is very important, because any study that you base only on secondary data, naturally the weightage reduces. Okay, so, and nowadays it has become very easy with digitalization, Google Forms, right? And all of you are experts in all these modern technology, and therefore try to collect data in whatever manner possible. See, when you, if you can, the time is not proper, but if you can interview people, if you can collect through a questionnaire, when you interact with people, you learn a lot. You have a few questions to ask, but you may get many more answers than what you have thought of. And therefore, interacting with people and collecting data not only through Google Forms can be a better way of doing research. Then applying statistical techniques, which Sir has already mentioned about, using the different types of tables, charts, diagrams, so many different variations you can have when you have presentation, so that it becomes very interesting for the people who are listening to you, and your presentation also becomes very nice. Then, as I have always been mentioning, observations, your observation, because you have studied the topic, you have analyzed the data, so you will come across certain analysis part of it, reading in between lines. That is when you're analyzing the data, what were your observations? And from those observations, you have to give certain suggestions, recommendations, because it started with a problem. So you have to give the solution to the problem. So whichever topic you select, it has to have a very broad socio-economic significance, something that is going to be useful to the society and from which you have put in so much effort. So how can it be useful, whether it is digitalization, online travel and tourism, or whether it is any of the hill stations and other topics that you have taken. So your suggestions and recommendations are very important, which will help to solve the problem that you envisage. So that gives the conclusion. And only one group had included the environmental aspect, because when you're saying a visual storytelling, also try to club in certain social issues that are there and how you can take care of those issues. Because when you say a story should have a moral. There has to be a take-home lesson from the storytelling, and therefore that lesson itself is nothing but the conclusion. And with these few words, I would again congratulate everyone for having participated, and I congratulate the statistics department for conducting such a very interesting type of competition under the DPT star activities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, madam.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for your kind words, madam. Thank you so much. Now the time has come for which everyone is waiting. I know it's dhak dhak hota hoga abhi. So now I will
Heart is
request,
beating very fast now.
Yeah.
So now I'll request Vilasini madam to declare the result for this competition.
Should I declare from the third prize or from the first prize? Any guesses?
Third prize.
Third prize. Any guesses for the third position?
Yeah, any guesses? Any guesses? You can put your answer in chat box also. No, they can put the answers in chat box also.
Yes. No chat.
Group 5. Group 5. I got one answer.
All are sannatas. I cannot see any
You can
chat.
put everyone. Put
Yes,
everyone.
sir. Yes, sir. It is everyone.
Any guesses?
Okay, group 5.
5. Everyone is
Group
saying
5.
Okay, there
But
is
which
a tie.
rank? Yeah.
No, it's for the third rank, we said, isn't it? I asked for the third
Yes,
position.
yes.
Third prize.
Yes. Yes,
What
they're
are
saying that it is a third one. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody said group 7.
7 is also
Group
there.
7, okay.
There is a tie between group 4 and group 5. Group 4 and group 5, there is a tie for the third position. Okay, so congratulations, group 3, group 4 and group 5.
Very good, ma'am. Congratulations.
Clap karo, clap karte hain.
Alok, you
I'll request all participants to please put on the camera so that we can see your faces.
Yeah, let us see who are those.
Yeah, those those who have got
Group
rank
number 4 and 5.
Yeah, group number 4 and 5 only. So those who
Group
got
number 4 and 5 only, so that we can see the winners.
Yeah.
Not group number 7.
Group number 7 nahi karna hai. Okay.
Group number 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Artists, congratulations to all of you.
Thank you.
Hello, madam.
Madam.
I think now your competition is over. Now they can introduce themselves, no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So
And
they
we will
can.
also share the
Huh.
result sheet later on, but they can introduce themselves. Yeah,
So who
definitely.
have run the group 3 and group 4, they can introduce
Yes.
themselves from which college
Yes.
and some
Yes,
experience
yes.
means how they got the data and everything while analyzing.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's start with group number 4 first. Group number 4. You are
Hello,
from which
everyone.
college and tell us
We
your
are
name.
from we are from Bhavan's College, Andheri.
Okay.
I'm Angela. I'm from TYBSc.
I'm Diksha. I'm from SYBSc.
Hello,
Great.
I am Tanmay Talekar from TYBSc.
Okay. Group 5.
Group 5, we are from SIS College. We all three of us are from SYBSc.
Oh, great.
So my
Excellent.
name is Nishika.
Okay.
Excellent. Others are from group 5.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Sakshi. I'm from group 5, SIS College.
Okay. And third one.
Hello, I am Sharanya Shettigar, also from Group 5 SIS College.
Great.
Great. Okay.
So
Congratulations.
Bhavans and SIS. Very
Yeah,
nice.
Bhavans and SI.
Very nice. And
And
now
rank 2.
Yeah, rank 2, Dr. Alok, you announce it.
I think you can announce, madam. I think group 2 is gone to, I think, group 7. Huh?
Yes. Second prize goes to group 7.
okay.
Group 7. Group 7. Who is group 7? You can start your camera now. Others can turn off. You can introduce yourself or ourselves itself. No.
Hello, my name is Priyanshe and I am from Ramniranjan.
Okay.
We could not see her. Where is she?
Ma'am, she
We
is
could
there.
not hear. Okay. Okay, fine.
I am Ladli Bhagat and I am from TYBS and we are from Ramnaranjan Jhunjhunwala.
Okay.
Myself, Anjali Prajapati from SYBSc, Ramniranjan Jhunjhunwala College.
Yes, congratulations to all.
Congratulations. So,
both of us announce the first prize together. What are the guesses?
Yes.
Yeah.
Guesses for the first prize?
So first prize, any guess? Oh, group 2. We are getting the chat in group 2.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, group
So
2.
the first prize goes to
Group 2.
Group 2.
Group 2 can start your camera.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Congratulations to all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. By the way, our team is from Jhunjhunwala College, and I am Chinmay Shinde from SYBSc. It was a great experience. Got to learn many new things and also know about various statistical softwares and tools, and also able to apply the real knowledge of statistics. So it was a great experience for me. Thank you.
first prize.
Yeah.
Myself, Vaishnavi Singh. I'm from TYBSc and I'm from Ramniranjan Jhunjhunwala College. It was really a great experience.
Janvi Kulkarni from TYBSc, Ramniranjan Jhunjhunwala College.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
So may I share the screen, ma'am, for results?
Yes, please.
Anybody?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So that we will come to know other colleges also who have participated. So along with college name and participant's name, we can see the result. So third rank. Okay.
Yeah, it's 3.5, so 3.5. It's a tie. So
okay.
So one for yeah.
We all know that prizes, if there is a tie, it will be shared by two teams. And we know the prizes amount. I hope you all know the prizes amount. First is of rupees 1,200. Sorry, 1,500. So that they can, the number is such that they can distribute among their 3 participants. So first prize is 1,500. Second is 1,200. And third is 900. So 500, 400 and 300 per participant of these winners will get. Thank you so much for participating in this competition and making this successful. For the official thank you, vote of thanks, may I request Suraj?
Yeah. Suraj
Yes,
sir, will you just propose vote of thanks?
Yes, sir. Yes. So a very good evening to all of you present here. It's my privilege to propose the vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who have worked really hard to make this visual storytelling and intercollegiate PPT competition happen. On behalf of the entire Department of Statistics, I extend a hearty vote of thanks to our honorable judges, Dr. Alok Dabade sir and Dr. Vilasini Patkar ma'am, who spared time from their busy schedules to grace this occasion. We were extremely privileged to have got an opportunity to hear our judges and their inputs, which will surely encourage our students in their future competition. A special thanks to our loving director, Dr. Usha Mukundan Madam, for guiding us at every step. A special mention to our respected principal, Dr. Himanshu Davda sir, for being the catalyst that stimulated us to do our best and surely standing as a pillar of strength throughout this journey. We got extremely delighted by the presence of our honorable vice principals, Captain Praveen Nayak sir, Dr. Kiran Kolvankar sir, Dr. Sneha madam. Also, thank you so much to all the teachers from various departments who have attended this event. Finally, I would like to thank our participants from different colleges for their participation that made this event joyful with their impressive performance. Your days of hard work were evident in your research and presentation. All the presentations were excellent and we have gained interesting insights from each one of them. So let's hope to meet next year once again for this competition. Till then, thank you. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think one of the group has not filled their feedback form from the WhatsApp group. So kindly fill SIS group.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I think if the program is over, shall we stop recording and live on YouTube? Is anything remaining?